What's up, everybody? So we are back again with a Witch in the Working that is a cooking one for Yule, this time for winter solstice. So we thought that you'd really get a kick out of it. And I'm going to be baking the next level up for the first time ever. So this time I'll be baking where I have to make the dough and stuff, like, you know, like from scratch. So I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and we're gonna get to it. Pink is gonna join me on this one and join in the fun of doing some of the cooking stuff. So it's going to be cool. So are you excited about doing this one?
I'm here for the food. She's
here for the food. So, okay. So this winter solstice cook-off with Mannun is going to involve 2 desserts and a side dish, I guess. Or maybe it's even a meal. I don't know what they call it, what it's for. It's a meal or whatever. But it's the first one is going to be a potato latke, which is it's like a pancake, like a potato pancake, and you eat it with sour cream and whatnot. The second thing we're going to be doing is a Yule log cake. So the Yule log cake should be pretty tasty. And the third thing we're doing is a gingerbread man, cookies. That's, and all the cookies are what I'm really making from scratch. So that should be interesting. But you're going to help me out with this one?
Yeah.
Very
My goal was for eggnog, spiked eggnog, but
that's too easy. Yeah, I mean, you get eggnog, you pour stuff in it, big deal.
I tell you what, you're the hit of the party. You show up with spiked eggnog, so there you go.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could still, you know, do that. But well, that's an easy one. You get eggnog, you put it in a bowl, and you pour whiskey in it, or whatever your moment.
You forgot to say with love.
With what? Oh, with love. All right, so cool. So we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to do is the potato latkes. So the first thing I got to do is we've got 6 potatoes that I have to grade. So we're just going to do this and see what we get. Okay, so we slammed through 1 potato. That took about a minute or so. And it kind of gave us some starchy looking substance here, as you can see. So let's do the other 6, and I'll probably save you the agony of having to watch this. You know what? While I'm grading this, let's talk a little bit about the winter solstice. So the winter solstice, or some of us call it Yule, is the day of the year where it's the longest night of the year, and it's the shortest day of the year. It's the first day of winter, basically, is what it boils down to. So there's a lot of cool things that happen during this time of year, but it's also very confusing to a lot of us pagans because just about everything that's done at Yule, everything from the Christmas tree to hanging stockings to mistletoe to bells to sleighs to Santa Claus delivering presents and the reindeer, all of that stuff, it's all ripped off from paganism. I'm even going to go to the extent, which is that this is a time of year when our horn god is reborn, hence the welcoming of the sun into our, you know, presence. That being said, this is also a time when Christians decided they were going to take a lot of the pagan holidays. See, the deal is that basically they couldn't beat us. So what they did was they decided they couldn't get us to go to their churches and to their temples and to their things. So ultimately what they did was said, if we can't beat them, then let's basically just kind of not necessarily join them, but just take their holiday and make it ours. And in that way, we kind of incorporate the both of them together, and it could maybe just seamlessly fold in, you know. So what they did was, because everybody knows if you read the Bible that Jesus was born in the summertime at some point. She doesn't like to accept that, but anybody who's a preacher or whatever in church will even tell you that that's the truth. Just because of the evidence that's in the Bible with the way the celestials were and everything else, you know, they just know the way certain things were. Stop. So what happened was they said, well, hey, if we can't beat them, let's go ahead and set up our churches and temples on their sites and just celebrate with them. And we'll just slowly incorporate what we believe as Christians, and it will just say that Jesus was born on the same when their horn god was born, so that our God's now being born when the pagan God's being born, and it'll, you know, hopefully just kind of work itself out in the end. Which, you know, it kind of worked out just the way they said they wanted it to be honest with you. I mean, it wasn't a completely foiled plan. That being said, we get the holiday now of the winter solstice, so now we have the whole celebration of, you know, Jesus being born on this day, hence Christmas, you know, Christmas. Pink, can you recall anything that's Christmas that actually is pagan? Like something that you know of? That's
yeah, the Christmas tree.
The Christmas tree, yep. Very, very cool. Yep, for sure. So from what I understand about the Christmas tree is that it was, thing is the Celts, the ancient Celts, you know, the one tree that never dies in the wintertime when everything's snowing is the evergreen tree. So unlike the deciduous trees out there that die every year and, you know, come back, the evergreen never loses its greenery. It sustains its life, so to speak. So the ancient Celts would go and cut down the Christmas tree, bring it into their home as to hope, in an act of basically sympathetic magic, in hopes that the life of the tree would be spread around the family. Because you got to remember, unlike nowadays, you know, in much of our culture, back in the old days, it was rough. When you went through winters, when things died, you lost a lot of stock. Hence, at Samhain, they would slaughter a lot of stock because they knew that some of that stock wasn't going to make it through the winter. And the same thing happened to people. So what they do is they bring in this Christmas tree, or this Yule tree, or this evergreen tree, in order to hopefully spread the life of that tree around the home, so nobody would get sick and die possibly. And in the process of doing this, it became a practice to celebrate that tree and to celebrate it. So they would decorate it.
Yeah, you know, actually a lot of this stuff makes sense if you just really think about it. Because if you think along the terms of what does a Christmas tree, Santa Claus, and Jesus have to do with each other, other than us sticking them all together in one holiday, you really can't come up with anything. You know, the evergreen doesn't link to Jesus really. Santa doesn't link to Jesus in any way. So where did these links come from? It definitely makes sense that they were stolen from pagan traditions.
Okay, so now we end up with this, which is a bunch of shredded potato with a ton of starch in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to rinse some of that starch out. So we're going to use a colander, this colander here, and we're going to put some of this, we're going to put this pulp now, I guess, this shredded potato into the colander, and then we're going to rinse it in the sink, which we'll do that now, and we'll be right back. Okay, so now so the recipe says to put the potatoes in the sink and let them run under the water for 5 minutes to get the excess starch out of them. So we're doing that. In the meantime, we're going to mix up the mixture, the rest of the mixture, which involves, can you see that, Bob? Again, these recipes are from The Sabbath by Dane McCoy. So we're going to put this right here, which involves 2 eggs beaten. So let's beat a couple of eggs here. Boinky. Got some eggs right here. So if you notice, so with Pink, she's going to assist me, but in reality, she's kind of like going to straighten me out if I go to do something wrong. But at the same time, I told her, don't go crazy correcting me though, because that's what makes these videos fun, is me screwing up left and right.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I'm here for the food, so I really don't care.
So we're beating some eggs. Da-na-na-na. Yeah, so while I'm doing this, I'll tell another. So another thing about Christmas, along with the Christmas tree, that is part of a pagan celebration. So is, for instance, the whole concept of Santa Claus. So Santa Claus was originally, in Norse tradition, a goddess named, I think her name was Fru Hayar or something like that, Fru Hayal. And she was, and she had the same concept. She rode in a sleigh. she would deliver gifts to the people and give them gifts and whatnot, and you know, prizes and money, things like that. Sort of not far from like what you know is Santa doing now. So we're gonna put the egg in this bowl, and we're gonna put a half a teaspoon of salt. Just about that.
Is it a half teaspoon?
Yeah, it totally is. Ugh. Okay, so that's that. So then we need to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. So we're gonna do I'm gonna say about like that. And we're going to do a 1/4 cup of dried onions. So I don't have dried onions, so this will be neat because I actually went and just got onions, and it was saying a 1/4 cup. So let's do exactly that. I'm pulling out my trusty measuring spoons. They're not dried, but it is what it is. You know what this is going to be like whole. I know what they mean now because they wanted it to be like little flakes.
Yep.
So this is going to be like these whole pieces. You know what we should use?
We should mince it up. Put it on here. We'll mince it up.
How do you mince it up? With a knife?
Yep.
Are you gonna do that?
Behind you with a knife here.
Are you gonna do? Are you gonna do that?
Yeah, we'll mince it up.
Okay, here. Let me give you some more then. So I think we probably use a little bit more. Okay, so Pink's gonna mince some onion. She's in action. Look out! Remember how she said she was just gonna like watch? Ha! Sure. We knew we'd get her dragged in. Mission accomplished, people. Yeah. So another thing about the winter solstice is the Battle of the Kings. This happens during the midsummer solstice, and also it happens during the winter solstice. So during the midsummer solstice, the Holly King versus the Oak King. The Holly King actually wins because he takes precedence over the darker half of the year. And during the winter solstice, the Oak King actually wins because from that day forward, the year starts getting a little bit brighter and a little bit brighter after winter solstice. So that being said, the Oak King actually wins this battle. I've said it before in another video, and I'll say it again. I honestly believe that the Battle of the Kings should take place on Ostara, which is the first day of spring, and also on Mabon, which is the first day of autumn. Because those days are truly the next day. The next day after Ostara, the spring equinox, truly is the day of the brightness coming better. You're overbalanced now, and you're actually getting stronger. The sun's getting stronger and stronger. And the same with Mabon. The day after Mabon, the nights get stronger and stronger, and it truly is the darker half of the year, all the way up until Mabon. I mean, all the way up until the spring equinox, Ostara. So, but that's just the way it worked out. So she's doing these onions. So we're gonna keep mixing some ingredients. A cup of dried onions and a teaspoon of, or sorry, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. Baking powder, a 1/4 of a teaspoon. This should be interesting. You know what we should invest in? You know those little measuring spoons that they actually have? We should get some of those too. Because right now I totally guessed. Like I'm thinking that's probably.
Oh, I can see that.
This is. I'm gonna say that's a 1/4 of baking powder. So.
Oh man.
Uh-oh, she's crying.
Crying?
Yeah, you are. It's okay.
Just pumped to talk about Yule.
You've done this. You've done this in front of the camera before. You're okay. So let's grab out a whisk here. And we're gonna mix this up. It doesn't even say we're supposed to mix it up, but I'm pretty sure we probably mix it up. It did say actually, it said mix all the ingredients. So then, while that's doing that, we're gonna turn on the burner. We're gonna move the book. Turn on the burner.
Oh, good idea.
It's like, yeah, it's not on. Let's try it again. I'm still getting used to a gas stove. Never had one until I moved here, so. Throw those in there like that. Oops. We're gonna mix these up some. I see what's gonna happen here. So it's gonna want me to use this as a coating to coat the potatoes before I throw them in the thing. So we've got this going. We're gonna take I'm going to use olive oil for this. I like olive oil. We're going to put a 1/16. It says to put like a 1/16 of an inch inside of a baking pan. Wow, it's a pretty big amount of oil. All right, that's a lot more oil than I usually like to do for food, but it is what it is. So, we're going to let that heat up to approximately 400 degrees. Right. I don't know if that's just going to be 400 degrees or not, people. I don't know how to... A lot of people don't realize it, but like even the cross and like God being born at the winter solstice, there's astrological symbolism for all of that, where the sun, the actual sun, during the winter solstice, it actually goes over and it sits for 3 days on what's called the crux astrologically. And the crux is actually a cross in the sky because the sun moves like this every year. It bounces back and forth. And, you know, this being Yule over here. So Yule, it bounces over here and it sits and it hangs for 3 days, which perceives to be sitting still for 3 days. And then it starts to go back over again to the midsummer, to the summer solstice. But when it sits here for 3 days, it hangs there for 3 days. Hence, the Son of God hanging on a cross for 3 days before he was resurrected. So the sun comes down, hangs on the cross astrologically, perceived as for 3 days, and then the sun starts to bounce back over this way. Hence is where it's thought where they got the whole idea of the Son of God hanging on the cross. Again, it's a whole astrological thing. Very interesting, not many people knew about. Okay, so it's time to get dirty. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these little patties that are about the size of a hamburger. And we're going to, oh man, I don't see this going well at all. Oh boy. We're going to make these little patties about the size of a hamburger, flatten them out with the potato here, kind of dip them into this mixture of onion and egg, and oh geez, it's falling apart.
I thought you were mix the whole thing together and then make the patty.
I guess we would do that, right? Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
That's just my thought process.
Let's just mix it all together. It's just... You know what? That will probably make them stick together. See, this is why she's here. Because I would have totally been coating them. And yeah, you know what? This is probably what they meant to do. Mix this all together. That makes a lot more sense. Because now the egg and everything is going to help them stay together. So let's see if that goes together a little bit better now. It's still kind of like, oh God, these are wet. These are super wet, but here we go. Oh my. Always when you're putting stuff in hot grease, lay it away from you. I learned that from Chef Gordon Ramsay. I really did. I really did.
Wow. Takes the chef to say that.
So we're going to make some of these little latkes here. Let them fry up. These things are super wet, man. You know what? It's actually doing pretty good though. I'm not disappointed in how this is going. So another thing that is done while we're doing these out, another thing about Yule is that people will put candles. Now, I didn't notice this in Florida at all, but I noticed it a lot up here in New England, where people put candles in the windows. And the reason they're putting the candles in the windows, well, I don't think it's the reason they're doing it today, but the reason people used to put candles in the windows was to, in an act of magic, again, sympathetic magic, to bring back the sun. You know, so they would put candles in the windows because they were hoping that that would tell the sun, hey, come back to us, and here's how, you know, here's how we want you to do this, because we're going to show you the light and show that we appreciate the light and we want you to come back to us. I've also heard that people will put candles in windows during Halloween and during Samhain and stuff like that to help guide dead relatives back to, you know, guide them back to the light, to home, basically, or so to speak. Okay, so you know what? We're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, I don't believe in doing anything in paganism in even numbers. I believe in doing it always in odd numbers if I can. So we're going to make one more. So there's 7 total patties instead of just 6. And this is going to be like a mini one. This is almost going to be like 6.5. So I'm just going to slide in right there. Okay, this is a mess. Okay, those are frying up. And we're going to clean up a little bit here. You know, I always clean up when I do the other shows and you're not here. I'm super clean like this all the time.
I believe it.
Yeah, I totally do. And if anybody tells you out there in YouTube land that I don't clean up as I go along, they're lying. And there's no reason to go back and check my videos. That's stupid. It's just, you know, it's just, there's a time when you just have to believe me. I mean,
sure.
So let's see. I'm going to use a spatula here. We're going to press some of these down a little bit. Smells like potato. That's a good sign. So another little fun fact while we're waiting for these to cook up a little bit, and I've decided, you know, I'll tell you guys a little bit about Yule as we're doing this show, is that Yule, the celebration of Yule and the celebration of the sun, in this particular case, goes back 12,000 years. It's one of the longest celebrated, I guess you could say, holidays in existence, even though it wasn't really considered a holiday, so to speak, back 12,000 years ago. But you get my drift. Something like it has been, in other words, a celebration of the sun being born and coming back from the winter, you know, going from the winter, you know, the sun dying out on the winter and coming back, and all that hoopla has been celebrated for 12,000 years, which makes it one of the oldest celebrations there is. Of course, we all know that the sun is the earliest god that there ever was. That was one of the first things that was the first thing that men considered God, was the sun itself. So it was kind of interesting. And also in the Norse tradition, I'm going to start to flip these now. This is going to be cool. Hopefully this camera right here gets a lot of this. But another interesting thing about the Norse tradition is that they celebrated the winter solstice for 12 days, which I think is pretty neat, because I wonder if that has anything to do with the whole 12 days of Christmas song. You know, the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me, you know, a partridge in a pear tree and all that good stuff. Some people, I don't know. Some people believe that actually that whole thing came from the Norse tradition of celebrating Christmas, for celebrating this winter solstice, not Christmas, but the winter solstice for 12 days. Which, you know what, it makes sense. You know, it kind of makes sense. And they actually had a song that went along with it, but it wasn't the same one we have now. So it really makes total sense. So, okay, while these are cooking up, you know what I need? Can you hand me the garlic salt up there? The garlic salt? Yeah. Because it doesn't say anything about this, but you got to put garlic salt on everything. And let's be real, people. Okay, so we're going to throw some garlic salt on these puppies because I got to have the garlic salt. Okay, cool. So we'll put this over here in case we need it again. Well, when I make the cake, I'll put some garlic salt in that too.
Oh, I'm not eating.
So yeah, another cool thing, another thing about Christmas time that's very pagan is the wreath. The wreath itself, which we see hanging on everybody's doors and over people's windows and all that good stuff. The wreath is a direct representation of the cycle of life and the wheel of life, so to speak, and rebirth and renewal. You know, it's a circle, obviously. And that's where the wreath totally comes from. As a matter of fact, again, a pagan concept that was brought into this wreath. Here we go, I'm wearing a wreath. Yeah, so circle of life around my friend Ralphie. But again, and that also ties in with that goddess I told you about earlier that kind of portrays in the Santa Claus, which was Frau, I forget, I don't remember how to pronounce her name, but it's like Frau House or something like that. Yeah.
Halle Berry.
I guess Frau Halle. Okay, and you can look it up. I'll end up spelling it on the screen correctly. But the thing is she actually, part of her in that tradition, part of in that culture, she also would spin a wheel. You know, and she would spin this wheel, and she would weave this wheel, and it would weave life and weave the new year coming up. You know, it was a whole cycle, and people were actually forbidden on that on a day during the year, during Christmas, to actually use wheels of any kind. So if they had a horse-drawn cart or anything like that, they weren't allowed to use it. You know, they couldn't do it. They had to skip that day. And to this day, actually, there's parts of Norway, the Norse culture, I believe it's the Norse culture, they actually take a wheel, a huge wheel, they light it on fire and they roll it down a hill. and it's supposed to bring, you know, life renewed and, you know, good luck and all that other good stuff. It's just part of their cultural tradition. Okay, so so another Christmas tidbit is bells themselves. Bells were used throughout history to ring in the sun, god, to herald him in, to rise and whatnot. So again, bells are used at Christmas time for this same reasoning. That were originally pagan and ended up being Christianized in some way, shape, or form. Just about everything that was pagan has been Christianized for Christmas. So do you have any stories about Christmas or anything that you'd like to share with people?
I do. I do have stories about Festivus. If anybody wants to hear that.
A Festivus for the rest of us!
Oh, tell us a Festivus story.
Festivus is actually, if you think about it, it's a pagan holiday, and if you don't know what Festivus is, it's a completely made-up holiday based off of a 90s TV show called Seinfeld. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But basically the episode goes into one of the characters' dads making up a holiday, basically, because he found that the holiday of Christmas didn't suit his beliefs or his family's beliefs. So he put up a metal pole, and he had people gather around the table for dinner, and he basically would tell them exactly what he thought of them, which wasn't good, and then they would have at the end of dinner what they call the feat of strength, and basically wrestle each other.
Okay. So I've never done that, but
yeah, I mean, metal pole, everything, the whole thing.
Hey, why not? You know, make up our own tradition.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna serve up these latkes now, and put them here on this this plate with some. They turned out pretty pretty golden brown. Here's the baby one. And put these here. This one probably could have been cooked a little bit longer. Like this one here. Put that there. Alright, so I think I'm actually done with this pot now. So we're gonna put this, turn off the burner, put this over here, and put the book over here. Okay, so these are the potato latkes. So they look pretty good. We're gonna let these cool off though. I'm gonna put these to the side, and we're gonna move on to the Yule log cake. So let's move on to the Yule log cake. Now, to make this, we use a traditional cake mix, and we mix it up. So we're gonna use chocolate cake in a bag here. Boop.
Fun fact, Betty Crocker was pagan.
Oh, really?
Just kidding, she didn't actually really exist. They made her up, so.
Jeez. So that was a lie.
Hey, you know what? I figure I can think of something about Betty Crocker too.
Let's
She's not even real.
do this real quick. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and mix up this stuff here. So it says here we gotta put 1 1/4 cups of water, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and 3 eggs. So let's bust out the eggs. 1, 2, 3. All right. Yeah, well, no, I got this here. I got this.
So you know there's a difference between measurements of solids and liquids, right?
Listen, no, I don't. But fear not. Where's the measuring cup at?
Oh, you put it up high where I can't reach it over here.
Oh. Oh.
No, actually take it down.
Uh-huh. See? Okay, so 1 1/4 cups of water. Okay, so pour that in there. And then pour this in there. You like my sound effects? Okay, so that's that. And then we have to put vegetable oil. So I had to, we don't use vegetable oil, but I'm just gonna do what the recipe said. So we bought some vegetable oil real quick. And we're supposed to use 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. So can I use this for that?
No, you need a liquid.
Are you sure?
Yep.
All right. So okay. Yeah, that's a half a cup. Okay, dumping it in there. Baking a cake. Baking a cake. Okay, we dump that in there and we whisk it. Oh, the eggs. 3 eggs. 2 eggs?
2 eggs. Oh, 3, you're right.
3.
3 eggs.
Uno. Oh no. This egg is really tough. Okay. I'm an expert egg breaker, I was told once by somebody on YouTube. Okay, now, this is where usually people have a, you know, like a mixer. But not us. No, sir. So I'm mixing this up. I'll tell you guys a story about when I was a kid. So, first of all, I'm a presents guy. Okay, I love presents. I'm not gonna be that guy that's all like, oh well, I'm all about the shit. No, man, I love presents. Totally love presents. And I was a kid. My dad, all I wanted for like a year, an entire year, I kept asking because my brother went out and got an ATC, which I don't know if you guys remember what those were. It's basically a motorcycle, like a 3-wheel motorcycle, like a dirt bike. And I used to ride his all the time, and I wanted one so bad, you know. And I wanted my own, but and my dad, and we get about halfway through the year, started in talking about how everybody in the family was getting this present that everybody was going to love, and everybody was going to like it so much, and some of them were red, and some of them were blue, and some of them were yellow, and some of them were green. And for anybody out there who knows, the 3 major dirt bikes out there, that's the color scheme for, like, Hondas are reds, Yamahas are yellows, Kawasaki's are green, and Suzuki's are blue. I think I got that right. And so he had me going, and then it's like, oh yeah, and everybody in the family's gonna, and I'm like, well, do they move? Do they move? And he was like, oh yeah, they move. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I go, do they roll? Do they roll? He said, well, yeah, you can say they roll. And for 6 months, he had me just going and going. And I'm like, oh my God, we're all getting dirt bikes. Yeah, this is going to be awesome. And of course, my sisters were like, whatever. And I'm like, no, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see them. It's just so amazing. Come Christmas morning, we all got water beds. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I was so disappointed. But you know what? They also got me the ATC that I wanted, the dirt bike that I wanted. So it just was out, and they just didn't give it to me until like much later on that day. It was almost like the Christmas Story thing. It's almost the same thing. You know how he wanted the Red Ryder beater gun so bad? He wanted the Red Ryder BB gun, and then he goes to all Christmas, and then the dad's like, "Oh, did you get what you wanted?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was pretty cool, whatever." And he goes, "Hey, what's that over there? What's that over there?" Oh, and then he gets his BB gun. I lived that. I totally lived that with this dirt bike, because they waited until after Christmas was pretty much over and everybody's doing it. And now they're like, so did you get everything you wanted? Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, who's going to set up the waterbed? You know, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait. And then I go out in the driveway and there's my dirt bike. And I was like, hell yeah. It was awesome. So, okay, so we mix this up. So now we have to put it in this pan that I had to go out and buy. So I need this smaller one. So this is apparently a jelly roll pan. And they said what we need to do is we need to line it with wax paper. So I got wax paper.
Now, and I'm just saying, maybe you might want to go by the book. And the reason why I say that is because this is giving you the time frame and the heat that you need it on for a cake.
Yeah.
Where this is much thinner. You see where I'm coming from, right?
Yep. Yeah, but the book actually says, which I didn't tell you, so it's no big deal. If we let's get out of there, that's not the way. The book actually says, preheat oven to 300 degrees. Grease a jelly roll pan with wax paper. Max the Oh, she's right. We got to put it to 300 degrees. Wait, bake, preheat to 300 degrees because we don't want it to cook too fast. Oh shit. Because we don't want it to cook too fast. So 300 degrees. And we want to pour a thin layer, no more than 1/4 of an inch thick. So we may end up with extra sauce. Batter. So we may end up with extra batter. We'll do a little bit at a time and I'll spread it out. Oh man. This thing.
Yep.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh.
Fine.
Oh.
Just, you gotta do this.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Emergency.
Make it happen. Save the day.
There we go.
Oh, there's some on the floor. You're gonna beat me. Are you gonna beat me? Like, you know, you done before? No, just kidding. I think we can probably use. Yeah, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, you know, you can probably go all the way with that.
You think?
I think so. Let's see.
Let's see.
You don't want too thick either, because it'll go right over.
Yeah, yeah.
So you might be good actually. Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, because it's not going all the way to the edge.
Yeah. This is why I come in across this pie. When you pour it,
yeah,
you gotta wipe it.
Okay.
See?
Well, yeah, you did that the first time, and I just didn't pick up on it. Look, I never said I was the brightest tree in the bunch. I think that's probably like a good 1/4 of an inch right there, right? You think it needs a little more?
Yeah, maybe just a slight bit. Not all of it. Just,
like,
yeah,
boop,
yeah,
boop.
I think it'll go.
Wait, I'm gonna try this now. Wipe, wipe. Okay. All right. Okay. I think some of this is thicker in other places, though.
Yeah, let me see this. Let me.
Yay! So we are basically going to go ahead and spare you the agony, and we're going to wait for the oven to preheat. Put this in, let it cook, and then I'll take it back out, and we'll go from there. Okay. See you in a few. Okay, so here we have the cake. It's still warm. It's been cooling for like 5 minutes. And hopefully it's at the right consistency. But we have to now icing the top of it with this homemade icing that I made.
We all saw you open it.
Well, I always like to put things in cans, you know, because it keeps it longer. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've never done this before, so is that okay to do it like that?
Yeah, let me see. We got it?
I don't know. Oh, it's going to kill the cake. Should I take it? I don't know how to do this. But the paper obviously has to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna work.
Calm down.
Everybody just calm down. Chill out. Oh God. Oh shit.
Got it?
Yeah, I think so.
No,
I think it might break.
No, we gotta go more.
I think I was.
Okay.
I think I was supposed to grease this wax paper. Not necessarily.
No, we're gonna be okay. Just keep going.
Kind of pushing now. Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
I think we cooked it too much.
Keep going. You got it. Just keep going. Okay, roll it. Let's try and squeeze it down.
Okay. So now I'm gonna put it Should we put it? Should I take it up and put another layer, or just let it sit on the pan from here?
Just let it sit on the pan.
Should we grease it real quick?
No, you're fine.
It actually
Looks kind of like a log.
It does look like a log because it's kind of broken a little bit. Come off of there. Wait. Hold the pan. Oh, shit. It's getting this last piece.
Here we go. Teamwork. That's what it's all about.
Well, I have to admit, it does look like a log.
Yeah.
It really does. Put this back in the oven. I still got the oven preheated. Okay, we're gonna set this for 5 minutes. So we're gonna let that cook for 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and we'll bring it back out and we'll get it all decorated and everything, and we'll show you the end product. Because now the only thing left, the hard part's done, I think. The only thing left to do now is re-icing it and decorate it, which we'll show you at the end. So, and when I come back, we are gonna do the gingerbread cookies, the gingerbread men. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Pink is gonna join me here, and we are going to preheat the oven back to 350 degrees, which it's doing now. We finished off the Yule cake, the Yule log cake, which turned out somewhat, you know, whatever. And,
I think it wasn't that bad. It was kind of flat on one side.
Yeah.
Then he put frosting on it.
Yeah, I had the
like
frosting.
I advised against.
Yeah, and I decorated it. She had nothing to do with it, so, you know.
I bet it tastes good. I don't know.
Okay, so here's this. So we have, well, this recipe makes 3 dozen medium-sized cookies, so we're gonna cut it in half, okay? Which means we're gonna need half a cup of brown sugar, which is here. So now I can use this, right? Yep. Come on, I didn't think I was gonna get to use my things at all. You were extra. How am I gonna do this? Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, so just, okay, dump that in. So half a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of dark molasses, which is this stuff right here.
I think this is the whole reason why I don't like gingerbread cookies. Although I like little gingerbread cutout cookies because they're like little poppets.
Okay, that goes in. And we've got 3/4 of a cup of shortening. So what's half of 3/4 of a cup? Jesus, what a mess. Whew. All right, boink. Actually, here we'll put this here. So that's that. Now, wow. Really gross. Okay. Oh, so on top of the shortening, 1/4 of a cup of butter or margarine.
And just throw some butter in?
Yeah. Like that. Okay. So that's going to be that. Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay, 4 cups of flour, but that goes in last. 2 eggs, lightly beaten.
Oh, yeah, that's what you have.
Right. So 1. So, oh, it's supposed to be slightly beaten. Well, I guess I'll beat it.
It's gonna get beaten one way or another.
Wait, huh?
That's good.
There we go.
Well, I have faith in these cookies.
Okay, so the oven is preheated. Now we need 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So we're gonna put 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, which is right here, okay? And we're gonna do 3/4 of a teaspoon of powdered cloves. You know what, these ones, I'm just going to guess this stuff. So 3/4 of a teaspoon, we're gonna do half of that. We're gonna do like that. And ground ginger, 4 teaspoons of ginger. Well, hence the gingerbread cookies. Oh, but we're gonna do 2. Okay. One, 2. Okay. And then we're gonna do 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice. So half of that is like right there. And 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. So 1.5 teaspoons is gonna be 3/4 of a teaspoon. So probably like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. Add the flour. So go ahead and add a little bit of flour while I'm mixing. Oh, you want to sit here? Here. Actually, yeah. Go ahead and just.
Here we go.
Okay. Oops. Yeah, because this is going to be a trip. I don't know if this is supposed to. This is my first time making dough, people, so.
This is my first time making gingerbread. I was never a fan. And now that I see what goes into it, now I know why.
Okay, so it says rolled out about 1/4 of an inch. So. We are going to be, the camera ended up shutting down with the batteries, of course, because every time we do these long ass videos, that's what happens. So we've got a Mannun cut out. We've got a pink cut out, a pinky cut out.
It's not me.
We've got Cubert and the little boy that is yet to come into our life. So we already have a couple, we already have some that we pulled out, but again, the camera shut down, we didn't know it, that are on this pan. So we have some already. And we're gonna go ahead and do these last couple. 10 minutes we're supposed to cook them for, okay? So let's do this. Let's take these puppies off of here.
I don't know how many more we'll fit.
I know.
So we'll just do a couple more.
Yeah.
Have some already there.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just do a couple more. Put some where they'll fit, some little dudes. I think we can put another big one right up the top over there. Are going to put these in the oven at 350 degrees for 10 minutes.
Is that what it says?
Yep.
All right.
Oven, 10 minutes. Timer. 10 and start. Okay. We will be back in a few to taste test all of the creations and make sure everything is amazing. Right. So we're back here now with Pink Cubert to do the testing. So we've got the gingerbread man cookies, which didn't turn out too bad. We've got the potato latkes And we've got the log that kind of looks, I don't know what that.
Not a log. Yeah.
So we've got some sour cream here that we're supposed to eat with the latkes. So
Staring at me like that.
all right, so here's a plate. Here's a plate. So let's try the latkes first. So boink, boink, boink.
What are these?
They're potato pancakes, basically. Now, do we want to... If we want to try it with sour cream, let's stir this up a little bit. Okay. All right. So grab a fork over there. Grab a fork, Pinky. All right. So I guess I'm the only one. Oh, she wants a dollop too. I was going to say, am I the only one? You want to try that too?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Tasting the potato pancakes. I like it. It's got a good texture. It tastes good. It tastes good with the sour cream.
Yeah, like holly.
Okay, what do you think? Like, does it taste good? Like 1 to 10.
It tastes like holly.
What is 1 to 10?
An 8 or 9.
An 8 or a 9. What about you?
It's pretty good. This is pretty good.
I like it. I think this is one of the better things I've made so far. Okay, so that's not bad. So that's pretty good. All right, so latkes, pretty good. Oh, I guess we could average about an 8 out of 10 because I like them, you like them, you know. So, all right, so let's try the cake. So I don't think Pink's gonna partake in this one. So this one's just, huh? Yeah, you are. Pink's not. So Cubert's gonna help me out here. We're going to cut a piece of cake, and me and Quinn are going to split this. She's like really going to town on the latke. So
Really good.
all right, so we cut that somewhat. Now we're going to grab this. Boinky. Just throw it in the sink. Yeah.
She's eating it right off the plate. She's just licking it right off. I love it. Really good.
All right, so there's this. And there's your fork. Okay, so let's try the cake.
Actually, tastes good.
Good stuff?
Normally, I don't like frosting, but it's good on this.
Well, I didn't make the frosting, but yeah, it tastes like chocolate cake. So, what? I mean, but it is good because it has a lot of chocolate in it. It's like death by chocolate. It's got chocolate on the inside and the outside. So, yeah, I like it. Not bad. For chocolate cake. I don't know. I give that one. It's pretty just chocolate cake. So probably another 8.
8, I would know. Yeah.
8, yeah. Okay, last but not least, we've got the gingerbread man cookies. So this is just me and you, Quinn. So grab a cookie.
I'll take the ugly one.
Okay, yeah, that one looks like Grimace or something. Some of them just like they fattened out when we cook them. Okay, so gingerbread cookie.
I don't think I've ever had a gingerbread cookie before. Yeah, that would be my doing. I'm not a big fan of gingerbread.
Never had a gingerbread cookie before, so I have. I like gingerbread. I like those ginger snap cookies. But so, what do you think of gingerbread cookies since it's your first one?
They're good.
All right.
Mm-hmm. They don't taste as crunchy as I thought.
Not as crunchy as you thought?
Yeah, but that's cool because I don't like crunchy stuff. Actually, I do.
You're probably thinking of ginger snaps, like those cookies.
You know what? To me, it almost has the consistency of like a bread, right?
Well, the gingerbread. cookies.
Wait a minute.
I guess. I guess if they're supposed to be that way. I just expect like chocolate chip cookies and stuff. So I suggest if you make gingerbread man cookies, this recipe, mix some chocolate chips in with it. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. What do you think those are? 1 to 10.
Like 7.
7? I have to agree. Probably like a 7.
What's my 2008 emo boy haircut?
2008 emo boy haircut. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video for Yule, for cooking with Mannun for Yule. It was definitely a journey this time around. I tried some new things. I went out on some new limbs, you know, making dough. Never done that before. That was crazy. But, but either way, so we will catch up with you guys later. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also ring that little bell to be reminded of future episodes to come. And I hope you guys enjoy this video and tell everybody else about them. And we'll see you next time. See you guys later.